Hey guys, this is Danish. I'm back with our free community webinar sessions. So I'm going to share my screen. 1, 2, 3. Yes. So first resource I'm going to share with you guys is visadb.io. Actually, I'm the founder. It's a global visa database and a marketplace. You can hire immigration and tax experts anywhere in the world, So if you go into immigration residency, you'll find verified experts, including Doris. Second shout out I want to give you SoulGuard. They're our community sponsors, and they actually create products for digital nomads. They have innovative products. Check their website, and you also get a discount, 15% on the whole store. Last shout out I want to give is Safety Wing. It's like the most famous insurance in digital nomad space. Check them out. You can buy even if you're on a trip. This is the best part, and I think they're the most affordable. It's like $42 a month. Check them out as well. And I forgot actually our own community, digital nomads around the world. So I'm sure all of you guys are coming from there, but if people are watching on YouTube, please join it and join your tribe. So let me turn off my screen share, and here I am. So I'm really excited actually and really thrilled to introduce Doris. Doris is our verified community immigration expert for New Zealand. She is an immigrant herself. So 20 years ago, she moved from Austria to New Zealand, and now she's running her own immigration agency. So just to let you know, in New Zealand, nobody can just practice immigration law by themselves. You have to be pass some exams. You need to be associated with the association, and so there are many steps. So Doris has a regulated immigration consultant in New Zealand, and so we are kind of honored and we are excited to do. So Doris, first, thank you very much. And how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to see you, meet you, and talk to you.
Yes, incredible. So Doris, I will just dive in straight away. Yeah. New Zealand is some sort of a positive, friendly nation, which is kind of quite open about immigrants or immigrations. Why New Zealand is always looking for immigrants, or why it's called the nation of immigrants?
Because basically at some stage people arrived here, and first it was the Pacific Islanders and Maoris, and after that it was Captain Cook who found the island and brought all these people here, and that has happened over the last 200 years. That it's a very young country, and it has got lots of opportunities. It is massive, it is beautiful, it's got great nature, and it's also got a lot of business opportunities. So yeah, a lot of people from all over the world see it also as a safe haven. We've done very well during the pandemic. So yeah, it's a great country to immigrate to.
Yes, to be honest, yes, I'm really looking forward to visit or actually live in New Zealand. So great points. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So if we continue our conversation into immigration, so as New Zealand, highly welcoming. So they also have different sort of programs and visas which creates a path to move to New Zealand. So I want to talk about the skilled migration program or skilled migration. Can you please tell us what is that program is about?
Yes. So up until the pandemic, there was a very different program to what it is now, the skilled migrant program. We have introduced a lot of new work visas, temporary visas, pathways to residency. And now the emphasis is very much on skilled workers of a certain type and area, highly skilled workers, but also workers that we very much need here because we don't have enough people. And like it's always been very much dependent on its migrant speed, working holiday visas, or, you know, people that just come for a temporary time. Yeah, a lot of people would come and look for a pathway. And this pathway now, yeah, would be professions that are what's called on a green list, which if anybody is really interested in migrating to New Zealand, you would go on the Immigration New Zealand website and enter green list. And then the green list will come up for you, and it would show you that certain professions would have a straight to residency pathway. So if you are an engineer, a doctor, if you're in construction, if you're a project builder or a project manager in construction of any sort, if you are a registered nurse now, very recently we have added the registered nurses and midwives to that straight to residency pathway. Plumbers, electricians,
wow.
EC educators, so early childhood. So there is a whole lot of professions that we have a big shortage of, and we therefore invite to immediately apply for residency.
Wow, this is incredible. It's like a broad spectrum of occupations, as you said. If I further ask, like you mentioned high skill migration, but I also hear some of the occupation which I would call them medium skilled, or even like below medium skill. Like for example, the construction workers that you mentioned. Is that
no,
correct?
I meant I want to qualify that it is about the project managers, not the builders. So there's also a profession called project builder, which if he fulfills the certain requirements that are necessary, then yeah, he would have a pathway. And you can't just go and call yourself, oh, I'm a project builder. Yeah. You have to fulfill a certain. There is a classification of professions in New Zealand. It's called, it's on a big list, which Australia also uses. It's called ANZCO. And you would have to prove that you are fulfilling these tasks in your profession. And you would also have to prove that you have the qualification that's on that green list, or an equivalent of that qualification. So it's not as easy as it sounds. There is qualification / work experience / registration, professional registration required. But yeah, if you are in certain professions, it is definitely easier than in other professions. Wow. Next to that green list and the various options, then you have an option where you can go straight to residency. You have an option where you have to work here for 2 years and then you can apply for residency. Certain professions like carers, like the whole world, were very short in people caring for sick and disabled and people, really. Yeah. So they would also have a pathway to residency after 2 years. Apart from all these professions that we are in big shortage of, we also have a point system. That's the old point system that was there. So any other professions also have a chance to apply, but they follow a different scheme. You would have to.
It's a different program, I believe.
Different program, but also possible. So, if anybody hears this and says, oh, I'm not an engineer, not a doctor, not a plumber, then don't be disheartened, because you could easily also be able to enter on what's called the skilled migrant category.
That's amazing. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much in detail. You explained in detail, so we understood everything. I want to ask you follow-up questions. So let's say there is in Canada also, I don't understand when you're talking about the qualification and this NOS N.O.C list.
ANZCO. Yeah. And there's an equivalent in Canada. ANZCO is for Australia and New Zealand. Canada, I'm not sure what it's called, but we have a classification where you have to fulfill the tasks in, and when I say all that, sorry, that's the most important. you can't just say I am that. You also have to have a job offer from a New Zealand employer.
Sure. I think that's where I will further dive in. Let's say I am in that list, one of the occupation, I'm an engineer, for example, and then I come to you and say, hey, Doris, I'm an engineer. What are the other requirements to qualify for that program?
Yeah, so if you are on the green list, which is all those professions that I've just mentioned and that you can actually easily check out on the Immigration New Zealand website, it's very easy as long as you have a job offer. So you have to apply for positions. You can go on certain recruitment channels, platforms. Seek is one that is quite often used here. But, you know, you just Google and find your recruitment platforms, because these are professions that are where there's such a shortage. Employers would be prepared to employ people from abroad, even though there is a certain amount of, you know, insecurity, whether the person will be able to, you know, do the job like in New Zealand, or whether they will settle well, or, you know, all these costs that occur to the employer as well as to the applicant. They are, because of the fact that it's such a shortage, they are very well prepared to employ people from abroad. So you would have to apply for jobs, do your job interviews. If we did help people from abroad to find, that's the first step really. You have to find a job offer, because without the job offer, you cannot apply for a visa, even though you're on the green list. So that's what we would.
Like, so job offer, and you have to be on the list. Is there any other requirement, like, you know, IELTS or like English test?
Oh, yes, as well, of course. So then for to be able to get residency straight away or at any time, you need an IELTS of 6.5. 6.5. Okay. Certain professions may have a higher level of IELTS, potentially, but that is not so much to do with Immigration New Zealand, but with the professional organizations. Sure. Say doctors or nurses, they would need very good English, because then, you know, it's life or death if you don't understand.
High risk, you don't want to lost in the translation.
Yeah. So yeah, IELTS is another requirement. If you're on that green list, that's basically it. You have to make sure that your qualifications, if they have been done, if they have been completed abroad, they need to be assessed by our qualifications authority, which is NZQA. They need to be assessed to make sure they're at the same level as New Zealand qualification. If years of work experience are necessary, sometimes that's the case with certain professions where you don't need an actual academic qualification. Then you would need to show that, you know, you got that work experience legally, you paid your tax, you have your IOD records, your tax records for it.
Sure.
But that's basically it. If you are not falling into that group of the lucky green list professions, you would have to follow a point system. So you can get points for age, for where you work, whether it's in Auckland or outside Auckland. So certain regions get more points and so on. So there's a whole list of points. And currently you'd have to reach 180 points, which is quite high.
I think there must be people watching. There are calculators, or you can reach out to Doris as well. But if you just want to see yourself, there are calculators. You can Google them. You can
absolutely,
see. And, but Doris, I want to ask you one thing. Like this green list, let's say the incentive to apply under the this highly skilled migration program is that you get the permanent residency straight away, correct?
Yes, you get the resident. So at certain levels. So If your job is on the green list, you can apply from offshore. And if you fulfill the requirements on the green list, you will probably within, so that is assuming you have a job offer and everything, you have sorted all that out, probably within 2 to 3 months would get your residency. Very, very fast, really, after what we've gone through the pandemic, where people waited for years.
Wow.
So that is very fast, and that just shows that we need these people. And you know, whoever is offshore and who is not sure, you know, and whoever also has the language qualifications, the English language qualifications, should not be shy to apply, because it's relatively easy if you fulfill the requirements.
So guys, let me tell you, I did it myself. You know, I'm not a native English speaker. I did IELTS. It's not that hard. It's absolutely you can prepare. There are so many teachers, coaches who prepare you.
And there's courses and there's books, and you know, basically with an IELTS course or exam, you prepare for the exam. You know, you prepare to pass the reading, all 4 skills: the reading, the listening, the writing, and the talking. And that's all you do. Then you can practice that.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Now, my last question before we go into, because we have a list of questions already, and I want them, we want to ask you that. So one last question. So if I go into the skill program in 2-3 months, I get my residency. What is the path to passport look like? Like how many years it will take before I can apply?
Yeah. So you get your residency, which means you are, you know, you can come and go, but you have to, over the next 2 years, you have to stay and live and work in the country for at least half of the time. So you have to be a tax resident. You have to be in the country for 184 days of each of the 2 years. And after that, you get your permanent residency. So now, assuming that you didn't have any character issues, you weren't caught by the police, drunk driving, or you didn't have, you know, any character issues that we don't like, obviously, that they can still stop you from getting your permanent residency. Assuming that you will have you be a permanent resident after that. You can even already, once you are a resident, you can go buy a house, settle down in New Zealand, go vote for elections. You are very much immediately, as soon as you're a resident, or you get access to your health system, basically, you know, free health system. But of course, you also have to pay your taxes. So very interesting for American.
A lot of Americans looking to migrate to New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah. And it is, of course, a very safe place. You know, we don't have school shootings and like, oh, thank God, touch wood.
Yes.
But after that, once you are a resident, you have to wait altogether for 5 years. So you have to, after the permanent residency, it takes another 3 years to get your citizenship. In those 5 years, you have to be in the country at least 8 months of each of the 5 years. So and then
that's totally, actually, even for digital nomads. I mean, this session is for economic migrants. Generally, they are looking to relocate to a country. But I think digital nomads would also be interested, because I think, it's a great second passport to have in 5 years.
Absolutely.
And second is that this 8 months is the perfect time, because in winter, 4 months of winter, we can actually go to Thailand, nearby Thailand or other Asian countries.
That's right. And there is no more than 4 months of winter, really. So that what I usually do is between like June and August, September, I would go to Europe and I enjoy the European summer.
Oh, that's actually, So it's when it's winter is the summer. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is incredible. So, Joris, I really appreciate it. I literally so much fun, so much knowledge to get from you that I feel like just keep talking to you. But I think we have a list of questions. I will jump on them. And you can also, I will say out loud, but you can also click on the Q&A tab and go at the bottom, and I will start from there.
Okay.
author is saying at one stage, New Zealand required the skilled migrants to have at least a master's degree. Is it still the case?
No, that's not the case. But the higher your qualification, the more points you get.
More points.
So under the old skilled migrant category, for anything level 4 to 6, you get 40 points. For level 7, you get level 7 and higher, you get 50 points. And if you have a doctorate degree, altogether you get 70 points. So that's the highest. But you know, you don't need a doctorate degree to actually get your points together.
If you can get more points from education, then you would need less points from other areas.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, so it's age, you know, age, like anybody between 20 and 39 would get 30 points, for example. And then the points get less and less.
Of course, they need younger, of course. That definitely makes sense. So Anna is asking, are there any health requirements to apply for this visa?
Yes. I mean, you have to have what's called an acceptable standard of health. And in order to get your residency, you would have to do a medical, a general medical, and an X-ray. So all over the world, there is e-medical clinics, probably the same in Canada. And you would have to do the general medical and the X-ray. And then if it's good, that's fine. You never hear of them again. If not, you may have to have some more arguments. You do have to have an acceptable standard of health. So for example, if you have cancer, or I don't know, if you have like diabetes is one that's not very nobody's happy about, because it's always about the burden that the candidate could be on the society. And you know, there's a certain amount, like you can only use up $80,000 within the next 5 years. And if your medical would tell immigration that you would most likely need more cost, then you won't. You don't have.
In Canada, I remember it was TB only, so that was in different countries they have.
TB is actually. I mean, I have people that you know, if it's a one that's been there for a long time and it's dormant and all that, then it could easily be that you can come in, but it all depends. It depends on the various kind of diseases.
Sounds good. That's a separate topic. And Anna, you can also check out what the requirements on New Zealand immigration website.
The immigration website is very comprehensive. It's almost too much, you know, for people like to know where to go and where to look.
I think it's one of the best websites. And Teresa is asking, are there other types of project manager needed? Like, what about HR project manager or consulting?
When we talk about project managers, we mainly talk about construction project managers. It's in the construction area.
Makes sense. That was perfect. You clarified. Amazing. Thank you, Doris. Next question, I'll move to William. Would it be easy to bring my dog to New Zealand with me if that would be the case?
Yes. I mean, it's just that the dog would have to go into quarantine for quite a while, actually. I think it's 3 months, because we don't have rabies here. And so if you're just coming here on a temporary visa or something, you might not want to do this to your dog. But your dog, everybody, animals, no animals allowed. Even you can't enter New Zealand with an apple in your bag or with a banana in your bag, you'd be fined. So no, animals can be brought, but it's quite harsh on the animal, because they will be quarantined somewhere in some facility.
3 months, that would be tough on the dogs as well. So thank you, Doris. I will move to another question. It's like Oceano is asking, well, nice name, by the way. Can I apply as a freelancer, or is it like it has to be a job offer?
No, unfortunately, we don't have we don't have what some countries have, a digital nomad visa. We don't have that, unfortunately, even though I've been trying myself to kind of work towards, you know, getting that sorted here in New Zealand, because there's so much talent out there that could easily be brought, motivated to come to New Zealand. And then once they're here, you know, we could potentially look into other visas, but that's not possible at the moment. But if you do work for offshore, if you don't work for anybody on a freelance, in a freelance capacity here, like the thing is that you can work as a freelancer, but then not on a skilled migrant visa, because now, like we are talking, definitely you can't enter the residency program, okay? But you could come to New Zealand and work on a temporary visa, so only for 2 or 3 years. And if you did have a New Zealand partner, which we have many cases where New Zealand men or women are bringing in their partners. This is actually the best visa you can get. You get an open work visa and you can do whatever you want to. You can start a business, you can work, or you don't work, you work for people, or you're not bound to an employer, you work for yourself, no problem. But on a work visa, an actual work visa, that is, you know, the usual work visa. If you don't have a partner, you can't work freelance, really.
That makes sense.
There is another one of those handy open work visas, would be if you come to study in New Zealand and you do a course, anything upwards from level 7. Then you get a post-study work visa, very much like in Canada, where after study you have an option to, you know, work for anyone.
I think there's always a path via student as well. It's more for younger people. I actually went to England to do that. I did my MBA. But so yeah, there is always a path. I think our audience is more like maybe a little bit, I would say, older than students. And so
but that is not, you know, that doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. You can study at any time. I mean, what matters is the financial aspect. It's quite expensive, you know.
Makes sense.
You have to pay for a course, and you have to also show that you have almost as much money as the course would cost for a year, that you have that available. So it's really only for people that have the finances.
Now I got it. So it's not the age, but it's the
not the age. I can explain to immigration that, you know, you want to.
I think you're right, actually. You know, people can learn
you can study at any time. That would be ages. New Zealand is not discriminatory towards.
I think New Zealand is the most
very open.
Very open. The farther they are from the world,
that's right.
Very open-minded. And the last question I will ask you, Doris, and then we will go towards concluding this amazing session. I was asking, say, if I qualify in the point system, like old system, will I be allowed to work as a freelancer? Like, maybe he's asking as a self-employed as well, because freelancer, self-employed, business, kind of in the same category, I believe.
Yeah, again, like it depends on, it depends on what visa you are actually entering New Zealand, okay? So as a freelancer, you will not be successful in the point system, because you need a job offer. 50 points are given to you for the job offer.
Okay. So even in the old system, you have to have a job offer to qualify? Can I qualify through other, like, categories?
No. Everything is in relation to a job offer from a New Zealand employer. So no, you have to have a job offer, otherwise you don't reach the points really that are necessary.
That makes sense.
But say, for example, I don't know who is the person that's asking that.
Atar is like the first question.
So if, you know, Atar was to come in on a visitor visa to New Zealand, then he was obviously coming with the purpose to visit, he cannot work. But, you know, as long as he's not working here in New Zealand and just, you know, working for overseas companies, it could be possible. But like, he cannot work freelance on a visitor visa. He can only work freelance on a partnership visa as the partner of a New Zealander or even a migrant. It doesn't have to be a New Zealander, but then the migrant would have to work visa, you know, or as a post-study work visa holder.
Totally makes sense. And what you said on the tourist visa, that's I am on right now in Thailand.
So obviously, yeah. So, you know, you are not, you're just doing your business, you know, it's not something I would advertise, you know. I wouldn't.
It's a gray area. It's like,
I wouldn't go and say, oh, you know, here I am and I'm gonna come here as a visitor, but I will continue to work for my overseas clients. But to me, there is no real rule that would not allow you that. As long as you don't work in New Zealand. For a New Zealand employer in a freelance capacity.
Yeah, I think it's a gray area, and that's why a lot of countries coming up with digital nomad visa to kind of cover that. And so yeah, let's see. I will ask you, Doris. I know we are already over time, but please excuse us. Allow us two more questions.
Yeah, that's okay. No problem.
Val's asking, like, is COVID vaccine required to apply for any kind of all these visas?
Not anymore.
Sure. Okay, that's
no. Everybody who was really upset about that can stop being upset because nobody has to be vaccinated.
Go ahead, contact Doris. Start your process. And the last question is, I'm not sure if it's a name, but someone from UK is asking how much to buy access, like investor visa, let's say, or any citizenship programs where you can invest money and directly either get a passport.
Yeah, but you want to invest a lot of money. That is the problem. I don't know, like, so we have just increased our active investor visas to 15 million.
Oh, damn.
But having said that, you could make it less. You could make it as low. It's a weighted system, so different type of investment count for different types of money. If you make a direct investment into a business, $1 of investing is worth $3. So in that case, you must only invest 5 million direct investment, and then that's enough. But if you invest in managed funds, it's worth double. It's worth $2. So you would just need half, 7.5, and you could mix and match.
Wow. That's pretty smart. So I think, yes, check it out. Or if you're looking into that visas, I think Doris would be a perfect partner to.
Yes, we have a team of people here. We don't just, it's not just me here. There's 5 of us actually. We have one Chinese lady, one Korean person. We have a lawyer here who works with us in relation to investment visas, because an immigration advisor can't actually even do investment visas, but we have an investment lawyer here. And we have somebody who speaks Spanish, somebody who speaks Russian. So we can almost cover. I speak Portuguese, a bit of it, German, English. So yeah, we can do a lot for you, for many people all over the world.
Again, so we Doris is our verified, or let's say official, for digital nomad community for New Zealand, and we have a very long-term relationships ahead. So feel free, and a very affordable pricing is case-to-case basis. So please contact Doris. You can also book a very minimal, very cost-effective consultation.
So we would really suggest, if somebody is really serious about coming to New Zealand, to book an initial consultation. And because this is not just a 15 minutes kind of, can I ask a few questions consultation, but we would ask you to fill out our questionnaire. We need to know your history and everything and your qualifications and so on. And then we look at that. Then we book a Zoom consult with you that goes on for probably an hour. So you could basically ask all the questions you want. And then we give you a written summary of your options and how to go about it. Wow. So, for that we charge. We charge 170 plus GST. So it's around 200 New Zealand dollars. But it is, if somebody is serious about coming to New Zealand, it is absolutely worth it.
I would encourage to get the consultation, or if you have a family, I think it's more complex, then you should, it's an investment, you can totally make it. Also, New Zealand, Canada website, you can check it out. But of course, if you need a full process taken care of, like you need to have a counsel, everything, I think then Doris is the answer. So Doris, I really want to show my gratitude on the behalf of 155,000 digital nomads. They're not here, but I'm representative. Thank you very much. And
well, I thank you for letting me speak to you and your people.
Yes. And then, guys, once again, I want to repeat that Doris has an office. She's a registered immigration consultant. She has multilingual staff members, Chinese, Korean, Portuguese. She's herself. And
we have lots of Indian clients. We are in an area here in Tauranga, which is full of Indian migrants.
That Indians right now migrating everywhere. So guys, you're watching me, I think Athar and already few people I saw here, they're my people. So guys, please, New Zealand is one of the best countries if you're looking with your family to migrate, like Canada, Australia, New Zealand. These are the top countries in the world. Out of 200 countries, maybe the top 5 countries, I would give New Zealand in that top 5 countries. So even for Americans, because I noticed on our website, a lot of Americans are browsing visas outside in other countries, and New Zealand is one of them. So if you guys are from the US, you are looking for a second passport or just want to experience life somewhere else for next 10 years, I think New Zealand is the answer, and Doris is going to be there to help you. So guys, thank you very much for joining in. Doris, thank you very much. We will host another session with you in a few months. Thank you very much. Everybody, goodbye. And next week we'll come up with another session. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.